Hey, how's it going, boys? What is up? So I was back once again for yet another tutorial video, I guess. So first, I'm pretty sure you guys probably have read the video title by now, but if you have not yet, then well, I don't know what to say about that. But anyways, I kind of figured I should just share some of the I guess strats or some sort, or how to properly, efficiently leech high-end, or if not end-game raids or whatever. First and foremost, I probably should say a disclaimer, but like, I don't really condone leeching, obviously, but last but not least, this is a gacha game, end of the day, right? And not to mention, it is obviously not hard for a lot, it's not easy, not hard. English is hard, man, but yeah, it's not easy for a lot of people to actually, you know, get the end game shit as you know, as easily as we do for endgame players, right? So obviously, starting out, you're missing a lot of characters, you're missing a lot of key items, gear, you know, endgame weapons like, you know, opus and all that things, right? And obviously, it's technically a lot easier for you to just straight up leech that for the most part, because at this point of time, it is, I would easily say that every single supposedly endgame grade is technically leechable already to this point. I know some people may actually think that it can be a little bit like discouraging too, in a way, because you know, you don't want to be in that position, right? You want to actually help out and stuff, but it's okay because technically you're doing it, and then the other people are helping you in a way because, you know, they want to get whatever item, for whatever said item in that said raid, right? So it's kind of like a win-win scenario too, because you're hosting for people who cannot get any more hosts anymore, because, you know, you can only host once a day outside of the supposedly MagFest thing that was just over not too long ago, right? And then it's like you're giving them your host so they can actually just get something out of it, while you also somewhat get like something out of it. But this is obviously like it can be a little bit different based on whether or not you're doing like Revan Raids or whatnot, okay? Obviously, there are probably better methods out there, but this is just more of like, I'm just sharing how I would do it, okay? So obviously, it really just differs like from people to people, but last but not least, I think I'm just gonna start from like the top. So we're gonna start off with SUBaha. So SUBaha is one of those raids right now, is very easy leechable, just because that Flugen has been around for quite some time, and that's probably the easiest one that literally just allows anyone to leech at this point. Yes, it's very easily leechable. If you're wondering how how do people actually leech in there, you can kind of get the gist of it in my previous video, because I already have the setup to, you know, let people leech while me and 5 other guys do the same thing that I am doing, and we can just help kill it, right? Very easy, right? The first thing I probably should mention, this probably might take most of the portion of the video, but I just want to point out, if you're planning to leech SUBaha, right, and if you want to leech SUBaha just to get your ultimate, honestly, anyone can just do this in like pubs, in co-op pubs, especially in co-op pubs, okay? You shouldn't be too afraid of that. There's a lot of people looking for it. I think I'm not even sure at this point I can just randomly go and check if there's actually people hosting it right now. Oh, I mean, technically there is. Like, you see rooms like this, basically. You see there's like the 8 turn stuff. Those are the ones that are basically asking for it, okay? How this actually works is that you're asking 5 other players to actually hard carry you in SUBaha. And usually what I would tend to do is that if you want to ask people to do that, I'll probably put, I'm not even sure if this, I don't think I have any other tags that I will use for other raids, because I don't really do co-ops for other ones. But I will share this in the description if you want to know. So basically, if you want to host, right, all you basically need to do is that when you create the room, all you need to do is just type this. What this means is that you're basically asking, you're doing, this is SUBaha, this is a SUBaha tag, right? And you're asking for, I don't know what rank you want, basically. I mean, that's entirely up to you. And then you're asking for the 8 turn boys, which is the relic busters. So this is basically relic buster, right? And then it's asking for 8 turn relic buster setups. And then if you're, I mean, there's probably another word for it, which I don't really seem to really care too much, honestly, is that where they actually use the term where they label themselves as a leech. But a lot of times it doesn't really matter too much, just because that as long as you're asking for 6 million room, right? This is basically 6 million honors, if that's what you're asking. If you're asking 6 million honors, most players should automatically know, whoever that is doing this, that wants to carry you or whatnot, should already know for a fact that you're asking for a leech. Just because that if you're able to hit 6 million or close to 6 million honors, you only need 5 people to do that. So that's kind of like how it's like kind of like an understanding between people who has been doing this for quite some time already, right? So you just type like this, people should technically understand already. And especially if you're using another class that is not Relic Buster, people should already know what they're looking for already. Because, you know, I'm pretty certain a lot of people, especially when you go in, when you make a room like this, right? Oh shit, I can actually host that. When you make a room like this, especially, people obviously will check the players and see what you're using exactly. So if there's like, you know, 5 Relic Buster, you know, people can kind of guess. They're not, I wouldn't really call like other players who are really looking forward to do this to help you as the host. I don't think they're that stupid. So you know what I'm saying? So okay. Another thing I probably want to point out is that if you're planning to also leech this, honestly, the best thing you want to do is to do nothing. Yeah, I think it's better for me just to show you in trial or whatever. Okay, the reason that being, right, is better for you to not do anything is just because that SUBaha, when you want to have those players to hard carry you in a room like that, is simply because that there's so many different variants, different variables, how the raid can actually proceed, that actually impacts the other players' setup. So the reason that being is that because number one is that we always, whenever we test it, we always go to trial or whatever to really physically test it. And what we tend to do is that we always test it when there's nothing at all. Usually when there's nothing or very, very minimal set of debuffs only. We don't really like we don't really go in a room where it's like fully debuffed, you know, or like maybe there's like specific debuffs or whatnot for SUBaha and stuff. So that's why it's like it's a very, very huge thing when it comes to this. So what I'm trying to say is that let me just go in, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you whenever you start a room like this, right, you don't want to like physically screw up your other random players that's trying to carry you in a way. So essentially what that tends to be is that all these players tend to have specific setups where they want to kill at least 2 characters. Usually they want to kill off 2 characters, and then they have like the final character, which is Nehan, to, you know, then they do the turn 8 combo, blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? Be it the 2 characters, whichever they want to kill is, you know, different setups as different characters, right? So there's that. And then the in order for us to do that, right, we need to have the incoming damage from SUBaha to be like there's no variables, right? Like what I said earlier. In other words, we do not want basically anything. We only want like very minimal stuff. The only minimal stuff that we tend to always know that SUBaha tends to have when we do it ourselves is the Hellmail Summon, and then we have Thor, and then we have Babu later, right? This is the 3 main debuffs that we usually tend to see, okay? Like, but you see, the thing is, some people like to, you know, they want to help, right? They want to help and do all this kind of thing. But honestly, what you should do is that you should just sit back and just do not do anything. So let me continue why this is actually a bad thing. Because when you actually debuff, right? Let's say you do Miserable Miss, or let's say you do Arrow Shower or whatever, any form of like, say, attack down, for example, right? Because, you know, this SUBaha does hit pretty hard, and then you're afraid or whatever, you know, you want to press some buttons and shit, right? You want to know, if you didn't know that, Relic Buster has a very important passive, which only you allow to get if you level up further, the whole mastery whatever thingy, which allows MC to get an extra, I think I already mentioned this in my previous video as well, which allows you to auto cast this when you at least get like 25%, like in one big hit, 25% worth of his MC's HP as damage in order for you to get it. So this is also very important. And then the other thing is that they want specific characters to die, like I said earlier, right? So in order for us to do that, we do not need, or we do not want any form of like extra buffs, extra debuffs or whatnot. Everything is already fixed. We already have like our setup just enough. You don't have to do anything. So say for example, if you do Deus Arrow Shower, like I said earlier, that could make our MC not have that stack. It could also what that tends to do is that if we do not have that stack, we are basically minus 1 million. So in other words, like 1 million honors. So in other words, we might have a little bit trouble killing it, especially if there's multiple players getting that problem. You know what I mean? So if that actually happens, it can be a bad thing, right? So in other words, we do not have enough honors to actually kill off the boss and whatnot. And it's not just this too. It's not just on MC. If you do, like, say for example, you decided to debuff as well, or if you decided to summon specific summons, which I will probably get into soon, is that it will not, say for example, it will not allow Vera to die, or it will not allow your other characters to die, it will not allow your Mugen to die and all that stuff. If that really happens, that can be really bad, because the setup is the whole 8-turn setup is just gone, because they couldn't get one character to die, and then so their damage just drops like crazy. So it can be really bad. So what summons technically can do all this, which we tend to see very often, is that we have Metatron, we have Artemis, we have I don't know, I think we've seen Kaguyas as well in the past. We also seen like there's a lot of random ones. I think some people even call Zeus in the middle as well, which I usually do in like when I basically just started this. I was still relatively new at the time, so obviously I learned. I don't do that anymore. So all these summons, if you guys didn't know, I'm gonna start with Metatron. If you guys didn't know, so as you can see here, this is what Metatron does, okay? So this is what Metatron does on his call. He does this light damage thing, and he also inflicts accuracy down, and he also gives you this buff. And what this buff have? It gives you defense. 50% defense. This can be really bad, because you give extra 50% defense on the characters that, you know, we want to kill off. And then you make them tougher. In other words, it makes it harder for them to like just die, you know. That's really bad, okay? And then not to mention accuracy down as well. If you do that early, before we even get our 8-turn our set 8-turn setup going, there's a chance that the attack might miss on the character, so you just don't die. Or MC as well, so you just won't get the stacks too. So it can be really bad. And okay, it's not just that too. And it also just applies to Artemis. If you guys didn't know, Artemis is another call or summon that allows us to get Echo, right? Which people think might be good, but actually it's not. Here's why. If you guys didn't know, at a maxed out Artemis only gives you, I'm gonna show it here, Artemis only gives you 30% echo, which people think, oh wait, that's good, right? Because, you know, you get extra echo, it helps out the burst or whatnot. But there's a reason why we don't use this at all, because if you guys didn't know, there's also another summon for light that provides us this, which we call Thor. If you guys didn't know, Thor gives us 50% echo to all light allies. So in other words, we get more. But what you guys don't realize, but if we cross Artemis with our Thor, it gets overwritten by Artemis. Why? I don't know. Apparently that's how the game works. So what essentially happens is that we will get 30% instead of 50%. And that 20% can, the lack of 20% can be equivalent to a lot of damage missing, just because that we are talking in millions. So 20% within millions can be a lot of damage missing, and especially this is an extra echo as well, because it's stacked onto based on like your main attack, right? Your main damage number, and then you get extra 30 or 50% on top of it, kind of thing. So that's why it can be really, really bad. So a lot of these summons can be just as bad because of you're screwing up with our setup, and then we can't really get the numbers done properly and whatnot. So it can be something that you don't want to happen, especially when you want to be carried, right? So that's why, like, end of the day, I would always just suggest people to, whenever you're getting carried in like SUBaha runs, you just don't do anything. It's just that simple. I sometimes I just don't understand. If you want to leech, sure, right? But I don't understand why some of you just can't seem to just not do anything. It's so hard for you to not do anything. It's like you have to press some buttons just to feel included. But you're leeching though, so you don't really expect you to do anything in the first place. It's okay. You don't have to do anything. I know. So the reason why you want to leech, so you can get stronger, and then in other words, it allows you to, maybe do the same thing as we are doing right now. So when you get stronger, you can, pay the people back by doing the same thing for others, right? When other weaker players want to leech, and then you just help them out and shit like that, right? Why not? It's like a big circle, because that's really how GBF tends to be, when it comes to helping everyone out. Because leeching is part of the experience these days anyway, so might as well just embrace it, right? So yeah, that's one of the few things that I wanted to emphasize when it comes to like summoning thing. What's that? When it comes to like when you want to leech. SUBaha especially, I really just I need to emphasize this a lot, because a lot of like public rooms that I entered, it tends to have this for some freaking reason. And then some people even have their own 8-turn setups as well, includes those stupid summons as well, which I don't know why you're doing that in the first place. You're screwing you're screwing other people up, so I don't know why you're doing it. So please stop doing that if you are part of that group. So if you're also, I just want to point another last thing is that if you're trying to also leech SUBaha, right? If you want to help, there is a way to actually help. It's actually very, very simple. There is a few things that you can do. It's actually very simple, and yet it's very, very good as well for us. So what you can do is that if you really want to help, there's two things you can bring. You can bring two characters, one or two characters, that allows you to give a field effect, a global field effect. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. These two is basically Flare and Blizzard. So what this means is that it allows us to get extra modifier on our attacks, so we can actually get our damage cap consistently. Because if you guys didn't know, this specific setup doesn't let us, because SUBaha has like super massive defense buff and all that stuff, and then we are essentially not able to consistently hit cap all the time. It's just that what our setup trying to make us have is that we want to get our average damage numbers, damage values to be just enough, or at least enough for us to consistently reach a specific amount of honors. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why. So if you're wondering who this is, it's actually very, very simple. I'm not sure there's only more than one, but there's only one particular character that only does Blizzard, which is Izmir. Where is Izmir? There she is. Summer Izmir. She does Blizzard. And what Blizzard does is that it gives you an attack modifier based on the number of turns passed. And if I recall correctly, Blizzard is the strongest at the beginning or whatnot, I think. Something like that. I don't know. I don't remember actually, but yeah. So as you can see, it gives us extra unique modifier for Blizzard. And then we have another one which is also flare as well. So as you can see, if both can be active at the same time, yeah, both can be active at the same time. They just take the highest attack boost at that current time. Yeah. So yeah, you can do it flare as well. The other flare is the potato. The potato is Zal something. Zalhalamina, whatever. I think her name is. Where is she? Yeah, there she is. This one. So this is the other character that can do flare. I don't really recall who else can do flare. I think you can just click on flare and then it should show you, right? On wiki. Does it show you? No, it doesn't. But yeah, so it's kind of like the same as Blizzard as well, just that you see like the modifiers is applying, like the values for the modifiers is different based on Blizzard. Blizzard, the modifiers values are a lot higher in the beginning. So technically, I guess if you want to do this, it's possible, okay? So that's one thing I wanted to mention. So if you want to do it, right, it's best for you to do it when everybody has their okay none, because a lot of times in rooms like this, people will always want to they will always try to press the word the sticker okay or hi or whatever, right? They will always post that when they are ready. Whenever they are ready, meaning they are in turn 8 already, they are ready to like bust it out or whatever. Then again, for the most part, I don't think it really matters for us, because we just sometimes I tend to do it in turn 7 anyway, because I just don't really want people to wait. So I always do it when I just do it in turn 7, because it's no matter what happens, turn 7 is mostly safe already. So yeah, it's if you do like Blizzard or whatnot on during that turn, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so usually you want to only do those particular field effect only when everyone says okay. So in other words, if you're in a team where in a room where you're leeching and other 5 are doing it, so you just have to wait 5 okays and then just make sure you read properly and see whether is it 5 different people saying they're okay or not, and then you just do it, okay? Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so I think that's mainly what I really wanted to emphasize on SUBaha. I think this might already take up way too damn long, but I wanted to mention like the others as well. So for the others, like in particular, I would say the Revans, it's a little bit harder to technically leech this, because there are some specific ones that that you really want to be in particular. But I think this only applies to the likes of Diaspora. I would really suggest people to just ignore Agastya, because the weapon's just straight up trash, and the raid is just a pain in the ass basically. So a lot of people tend to just dodge Agastya. So if you see like me, there's a reason why I didn't really host Agastya at all, so because it's a pain in the ass. So one thing for Revans is that if you want to actually get carried, I probably would suggest you just opening co-op anyway and just, I don't know, ask for carry. I don't really know the exact wording of the carry, but just say that you just type the word host. I think is it's, let me bring that up real quick, because I think I have that word that labels yourself as the host. So this is the this, where's the okay, so this text here is basically labels yourself as the host. Alright, this is basically this is calling yourself. So anything you want to do after, you just label it as zero turns or whatever. Just say you're like leeching after this, so it kind of indicates that you are not doing anything. And this is actually really helpful in Revans, because I think I also mentioned this in my previous video, is that Revans, you can only get the said sands, which everyone's really aiming for, these sands thing, this stuff, in when you hit like 4 million-ish honors. Okay, in order for you to do that, you need to most of the time you always have one particular person to be leeching. Yeah, you need to have that one particular person to be leeching, because if not, it's really hard for a lot of others to actually even get 4 million in the first place. So it can be pretty hard, especially if you want to share it out, yeah. So for the most part, I think you can do all these on every single one. I don't really know about Augusta because I just prefer to just tell everyone just dodge this altogether. For this main 4, this other 4, because we don't really have the 5th one yet. I mean the light boss yet. For this 4, I feel like only Diaspora is the only one that is different from the rest. Because I feel like Diaspora requires you to actually do something instead of you straight up leeching. You know? Because it's either you do something or you just ask someone to do it for you. Because what this tends to be is that Diaspora requires you to you need to get to that stupid I think the beta or whatever that thing is called again. So basically you have to use like Ogi setups to get the whole, I think 25% of the beginning. You want to get that done, and then it allows others to go broom broom, right? They can do whatever setups they want, and then they can just zoom with their Huntring, Berserker, whatever setup, Viking setup, I don't know, whatever setup they're doing these days with Diaspora. So they do that, or yeah, then it just goes through really quickly. So that's the only thing. But for Siegfried, Siete, and Mugen, I don't think you really need to do that at all. So it's like you can actually just straight up just leech that thing. I think the only difference I would say Siete is that there's the 10% issue. So it's like, I guess if as the host, if you're able to get through the 10%, because you don't really know if pups can really do that or not, it's probably better that way, you know. But yeah, honestly, I think I would easily say that probably the safest one you probably want to do, you want to get carried, is obviously in co-op, and it should go through a lot better. But from what I've seen, Siete is easily one of the easiest one if you just want to like pub, like there's no co-op room or whatever. Siete is easily the easiest one, just because everyone's doing it. Because, you know, the whole Siete swords thing, everybody's going crazy. Oh, but Siete sword is good and so many different setups. All those stuff. People are going for it. And a lot of people have the burst setup for fire, so it makes things a lot easier for them and all that stuff. So, and Siete is kind of a brain dead raid, similar as like Siegfried in a way, which allows them to just go unga bunga and then things just dies, right? Simple as that. But yeah, Mugen and Siegfried has that same thing as well, which allows people to just go ham anyway. Yeah, so that's really the gist of Revan's raids. So last but not least, we have the usual Fa, Babu, and Belial. So for this particular tree, is that it's kind of hard to say now, because honestly, it's a little bit harder now, because with the whole Raid Finder, Raid Finder being crap, you know, beta stage, whatnot, you know, it's all being crap. It's really hard for people to do it, especially these two, right? Especially Babu and Belial, which requires you to physically clear on your own the whole single player quest version of them before you can actually even search through it in here. You know, if you haven't done it, you will not see them here at all. So that can be a really bad thing. Yes. So honestly, what I can say is that for this in particular is really hard, because my only suggestion is really just us in Discord servers, like this community Discord servers or whatnot, to ask for help there if you really want to get carried. Or if not, I don't know, just if so happen you're in my chat or whatever and I'm doing it, then you can just leech through that or something. Because it really is very tough, especially you're in that position where you cannot even search for them, right? Yeah, you can probably join co-op, but yeah, you have to, most at that point, right? If you're joining co-op, you have to be the host for the most part. If you can't even host it, how the hell are you gonna even yeah, see, you see where I'm getting? So it can be a bit annoying, right? But at least for far you should be able to excuse me, for far you can actually search, because this one doesn't really require you to do any like annoying thing like this too, so it can be a little bit better for that regard. So a lot of times you can just search for this and then you just keep hopefully get into the point in the search thing where I don't know, where there's low HP ones or something. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna randomly stumble upon it, but yeah, you know, there are a lot of people doing it, right? But like, you know, there are some ones that are like almost dead or whatever. Yeah, if you can just do it there. If not, then it's okay. Alright, so this video has been going on for a little bit too long because I emphasized too much on the whole SUBaha thing, because I feel like a lot of people didn't know that you can actually leech SUBaha very easily now, especially for being labeled as the hardest raid in the game, right? So yeah, it's actually quite simple to leech now. I mean, I could just straight up leech too if I wanted to, but since I can do that, I prefer not to, right? So once again, obviously I don't condone leeching, but because, you know, that's the way, you know, like, you know, the whole gacha mechanic thing in this game, and it's really hard for you to progress, especially when you do not have like a community like with a crew or whatever to help you to grow and stuff. It can be really hard because a lot of times when you're trying to do all those raids, you just pub, nobody's really gonna help you, and you can't really solo them, so you're kind of screwed up on that particular scenario, right? So there's really nothing you can do about that. So a lot of times it's just better off you just try to leech it on your own, right? So that's why I feel like it's just better for me to emphasize it and just tell you guys straight up, like, if you want to leech, I think it's still okay, but make sure you do it properly. You know, make sure you do it properly, okay? Yeah, so if you need any help or any questions about all this, if you want to try to get into all this as well, I do suggest you to just I don't know, come onto my stream and ask there, and then you could probably ask in my Discord too, but I probably suggest you just ask in my chat rather than Discord for this particular one, because people might actually misunderstand a little bit in a way. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully this video is helpful in any way, shape or form. Leave a like if you, or sub if you like, or whatever, whichever if you like, and then you can subscribe too if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.